Hi, this is Alex, and in this video we're going to take a look at the basics of submitting checkboxes and reading this data with PHP. So the first thing we're going to do inside a file index.php that I've created, we're going to create a form, and that's going to have a checkbox or a couple of checkboxes and a submit button. In process.php, this is where we're going to be submitting this form to, and in process.php I'm going to teach you how we can pick up this checkbox data after we've submitted the form. So the first thing we're going to go and do is obviously create the form. So let's say form action equals, and we'll leave that blank for the moment, and we'll say method equals, and we'll leave that blank as well, and we'll end the form just there. Now the action is obviously going to be process.php. This is where we're sending the form data, and method, usually we would use post because we're sending the data, perhaps this is a registration form or something, we would use post, but just for now, for the purpose of this tutorial, we're going to use get, and this is going to allow us to see the data that we are submitting in the URL bar. Okay, so you can see at the moment in our browser we've got nothing, it's just blank. Obviously that's because we haven't created any form fields or any form elements yet. So we're going to say input type equals, we'll leave that blank for now, and we'll say now checkbox. So it's as simple as that to create a checkbox. I'm sure if you're used to HTML you'll already know that. And we're going to give this a name, so I'm just going to say agree. And just beside this I'm going to write I agree with the terms and conditions. Okay, so something that you'd usually find on a form, I agree with the terms and conditions, you either check this or you don't, so a user can leave this checked or unchecked. And let's go ahead and pop this in a paragraph, and we can come down here and create a new paragraph, and inside here we'll create a submit button. So again, type equals submit this time, and we'll give it a value, so we'll just say register. So inside of our browser now we have this button, we can click it and that goes through to process.php. Now you can see this question mark just here, this is where the get data would be shown after this. So you'll notice that when we click on, we check this, or let's do it unchecked first, and we click register, we get nothing after this question mark. So we're not passing any data, any get data through the URL. If I check it and I click register, you can see we've got agree equals on. Now agree equals on, we've called this agree, so we are essentially saying that the checkbox has been checked. Now you'll also notice that if we don't check the checkbox, the content or the form element itself is not passed through. And in process.php we're going to be using the isSet function to actually go ahead and check this checkbox. So now that we've done the form and we know that the data is submitting properly, let's go over to process.php and let's start by creating some PHP tags. Now inside here I'm going to create an if statement, and it's going to check whether this checkbox has been set or not. So we're going to say if, and we'll create our brackets as well. Now in here we're going to be using isSet, and this is essentially going to check whether it's set. Like we checked earlier, if nothing is here it's not set, and then we had the agree equals on, and this would mean that it's set, i.e. this is the part that's set, and then this is the value. So hopefully that makes sense. So what we are checking for is $_get, and then in here we're going to choose agree because that's the name of the variable that we're essentially passing through. So if you're unsure about this syntax, there is a PHP Academy video on get and post variables. So if is set get agree, I'm just going to go ahead for now and echo out set, for example, and then we can check whether this has worked or not. So okay, so I'm going to go ahead and click register. Nothing is displayed. When I do check this and I click register, you can see it says set. So essentially what we've done is we've checked whether a checkbox has been checked or not. Now there's a couple of things that we also need to note here, the fact that this value could be changed, for example. So if you just want to know, that the checkbox has been checked, fine. Is set would usually suffice, but we might want to go that extra bit, if you like, and check the actual value of it. Now we can either do this as a nested if statement, so we can do another if statement just down here, or we can actually do it on the same line or within the same condition as we've checked the is set. So we could say if is set get agree and $_get agree is equal to, so two equal signs, on. Okay, so we can echo out here set and correct value. So now what we can do is, let's just go back, let's uncheck register, nothing happens. We can check this, click register, set and correct value. So we've got agree is set and it's equal to on. If I was to, for example, change this to off, nothing is displayed because the second part of our condition needs this value to be set to on. Now this probably might not look useful, but let's say for example we set a value to this here. So name equals agree, value equals true, for example. Okay, so we might want to check that this is equal to true and then set and correct value. So let's go back and back again, and let's click register, nothing happens. Check this, agree equals on. We did not refresh this page, let's just refresh this. So let's click or check this box, click register, set and correct value. You can see now instead of agree equals on, it says agree equals true. So we can set our own values to this. Now obviously when you're doing this in a real life situation, you're probably not going to want to use get method, because obviously it's much easier to change the values. So we're going to say method equals post, and then in here we're going to change these to post, like so. And then if we were to go back to the form and refresh, obviously when we click register nothing happens. You'll notice that the question mark that was there earlier has disappeared, and even when we check now and click register, it says set and correct value, but we can't see the get variables in the URL because it's being passed as post data. So that's what you would usually do, if you were creating a registration form. You would use post data because it accepts a longer character amount, and also it's a lot harder to modify the values within the URL. So let's just say this wasn't checked. We could say else echo you must agree to the terms and conditions. So let's refresh. I'm going to check it, fine. Uncheck it, you must agree to the terms and conditions. So this isn't ideal, but it gives you an idea of how you can start to build up messages based on whether this has been checked or not. So it's extremely simple to actually create a checkbox and submit values, and actually take an action based on whether it has been set and it has the correct value.